Hi all, here I am with the fifth video for this week, where we're going to talk about the medium as the message. But first I wanted to draw your attention to the fact that the Moodle site has been updated, the syllabus has been updated. Don't forget to look at the syllabus for your assignments, and also for links to your readings for this week. And additionally, you're going to have these 4 videos plus the one you're listening to make sure that you do all 5 of them, and then these 3 assignments to complete, all before 11:59 p.m. on Sunday. Now, a couple of the assignments wouldn't let me enter in 11:59 p.m. as the deadline, so it's set for 11:55 p.m. on Sunday. So just be aware of that and schedule your time accordingly. So for our last video for this week, we're going to be focusing on the article that you had to read about the medium is the message. And basically in that article, the author goes over this very famous saying by Marshall McLuhan. Marshall McLuhan was a new media theorist. He was the first celebrity, basically academic, in the United States. He just died a couple of years ago. But he really rocked the world with this saying that he came up with, and the theory that he came up with behind it, that the medium is the message. Interestingly enough, the publisher misprinted the title, and it was printed as the book, The Medium is the Massage, and Marshall McLuhan was tickled pink by that, because not only does he say the medium is the message, he likes to break down the words, basically to say the medium or technology has created a mess of this age. And then also that the medium has created a mass culture within this age. So the medium is the message, the medium is the massage, and also the mess age and the mass age. And this will make more sense to you as we go along. But the thing that's important to understand about Marshall McLuhan as the medium is the message is that he defines technology as any extension of the human body. So in other words, anything that is not created organically by our body. So this is why I have a picture of this naked man here, because this is what humans look like when they don't have any technology near them or around them, right? You're naked, your genitalia is out for all to see. We don't have any watches or clothing. He's not carrying anything. He doesn't have any shoes on. He's not sitting in a car. This is what the human life looks like without technology. Anything that humans then manufacture and we adopt into our lives is technology, and it changes, as Marshall McLuhan says, the scale, pace, or patterns of our lives. And you're going to want to write that down. Extensions are any technology that are not created organically by the human body, anything that extends our capabilities. And the importance of technology is the impact it has on the scale, pace, or patterns of our lives. And I'm going to give you a couple examples of how to think about that. So look around you right now and think about everything that's surrounding you that your body itself didn't produce. So your hair doesn't count, your eyelashes don't count, your toenails don't count, but the makeup that you're wearing, if you wear makeup, or the clothes that you're wearing, the computer that is in front of you, the cup that's sitting beside you, the pictures that are hanging on your walls, the carpet that's under your feet, the window pane that's near you, your pencil, your pen, your paper. All of that is technology. Think about how, for example, paper is a technology that we're seeing right here. This drawing was done by a pencil on paper, and the paper was able to preserve the artist's thoughts and ideas and skill for hundreds of years so that we can now look at it in the 21st century. Of course, The computer is also a technology that changed the scale, pace, or pattern of our lives because we don't have to physically be in the presence of this piece of paper in order to see it. You know, I found this by Googling it and then opening it up in a browser. So again, that changes the scale, pace, or pattern of our lives. The paper, the pen records this artist's skill and preserves it so that we can look at it years later. Scale, pace, or pattern of our lives. Oops. Okay, now here's an example of a technology that Jane Austen would have used when writing Sanditon. This is what's called a quill pen. And it definitely changes the scale, pace, or pattern of your life, right? It changes the scale of your life, and that a person who has a quill pen is able to communicate with people who are not physically present in front of them or even alive when they were writing the language down on the piece of the paper. So your scale becomes larger when you're able to write, even when you're writing with something as antique as a quill pen. I don't think any of us have written with a quill pen recently. I have one in my office, so if you want to stop by and see it. So it changes the scale of somebody's life. It takes it from being where you can only communicate with people who are right next to you and who are currently alive. When you're able to use something like a quill and ink and write it down, then you're able to enlarge your life and also even become immortal in some ways. When you write something down and it's preserved, if it's good enough and it's preserved, then your words and your ideas live on beyond the time you're actually alive on this earth. It changes the pattern of your life as well, because if you want to write with a quill pen, first of all, you've got to find a goose or a duck or something. You got to track them down and you have to pull a feather off of them. Then you have to cure the feather. Then you have to go get yourself a knife so that you can hone the tip down here. Then you have to go buy yourself some ink. Then you have to buy yourself a pot to put that ink in. Then you have to find someplace flat that is around where you can take that piece of paper that you found and lay it down and write it. And also then you have to be able to, if you want to write to somebody, you have to go to the table or to the bag or to the box where you keep these items. You have to buy and purchase and arrange your life in a certain sort of way that you wouldn't have to do if you didn't have this quill to write with. So it changes the pattern of your life. Then once you finish writing whatever it is that you've written, you have to figure out a way to get it to that person that you're trying to communicate with. Because normally, unless it's a diary, when we write something down, it's because we want to share our thoughts with somebody else. So again, this changes the pattern of your life. Think about how you probably prefer to send text messages than letters. Because if you have to write a letter, you would have to go get some paper, you'd have to get an envelope, you'd have to get a stamp, you'd have to write it, seal it up, look up that person's address, drive to the post office, get out your 50 cents to buy the stamp, get back in your car and drive back home. So the kind of writing that you do, the kind of technology that you use, whether it's a quill or it's a text message or it's a letter in today's postal system, it changes the scale, pace, or pattern of your life. Usually we choose text messages first because we've already bought the phone. Remember, we have to have a job in order to buy the phone. We've already paid for our bills for the phone. We already have the phone numbers programmed in so that we can easily send a text message. And usually the phone is sitting there right in our pocket or in our purse. And so we don't really have to go very far in order to communicate with somebody else. We can just reach into our pocket, reach into our purse, type something out really quickly, send it. And then that ease creates a faster paced communication, which gets us to the idea of pace. Of the examples I've given you here, the quill obviously is the slowest. Things got a little bit faster when we moved away from the quill and got things like ballpoint pens that you could carry around easily with you, paper that was less expensive, a postal service that was a lot less expensive. To send a letter such as the one that you're seeing here, the recipient would have to pay for that letter to receive it. And usually they would have to pay about a day's worth of wages. So imagine if you're making like $10 an hour today and you work for 8 hours, you have $80. Would you pay $80 for every single letter that you receive? So there was, people didn't send very many letters back in the day. But now that when it came to when the post office was more affordable and to cost, somewhere like a nickel or a dime or a quarter, and now we're up to 50 cents to send a letter, people send a lot more letters. But then when we have something that's prepaid, unlimited texts, like we have now, we send texts all the time. So whereas you used to maybe get a letter a week or a month when it would cost you a day's wage, when everything was so expensive and labor intensive, you would get a letter very infrequently. People started getting letters more frequently when it became more affordable, when the equipment that's surrounding it became more affordable comparatively. And now that we have our text messages that we've already prepaid for, we'll send hundreds in a day. It changes the pace of your life because it speeds up communication. So the technology that we have at our disposal is not so much about whether or not we think it's cool or whether it's modern or whether we like it or we think it's pretty. What we're going to be talking about over the course of this semester is how technology changes the scale, pace, or pattern of our lives. So depending on the medium, which, again, I want you to write this down so you remember it. The medium, according to McLuhan, is any and all technology. It's not just the computer. It's not just our smartphones and things like that. It's anything that extends, any extension. Again, emphasizing that extension. That's a word you're going to need to remember. Anything that extends the capabilities of a human. And then how it changes. Again, this is important. Write it down. Scale, pace, or pattern of our lives. I'm going to give you one more example here to kind of show you how anything that is synthetic, that is, made by humans, is a technology. Our clothing is a technology. Imagine if you'd woken up this morning and all of your clothes had disappeared, as well as all cloth in your house. There was not one stitch of cloth in your house. How would that change the scale, pace, or pattern of your life? Well, it would change the scale of your life because you probably wouldn't leave your house. So you would just go from being somebody who's capable of moving around in the world to somebody who's isolated in your home. It would change the pattern of your life because you wouldn't be going anywhere. And so instead of having to get in your car and drive around and get gas and things like that, you would probably have to figure out how to get food brought into your house by somebody that that you don't mind seeing you naked. And also change the pace of your life because you're not going anywhere. You don't have anything to do that day. You're not going to work. You're not going to school. You don't need to run to McDonald's and get some food. You no longer need to go to that party you were planning on going to that night. The pace of your life is going to become much slower because you don't go anywhere. So again, all technology changes the scale, pace, or pattern of your life. And that is what your assignment is for today. Your third and final assignment that you need to put up on Moodle is for you to answer the question that is both listed on the syllabus, and then also you have a link right here under this week where you need to think of something that you have in your house or in your home, of an extension that's near you. And I want you to use your imagination and then write a short paragraph about how that particular extension changes the scale, pace, or pattern of your life. Okay? Good luck.